All right. Cool. So follow up to Saturday. Follow up to Saturday. Market opened here. No, not there. Here. Right. So, right, pretty much what we were talking about on Saturday, right, was this is crucial. This is crucial to me because, right, this is the final leg to the upside, right, our final structural range that took structure. So, if by some odd chance, right, this isn't something that this isn't a realistic POI in my opinion, because we already took out the preliminary legs there and there. So the good thing is that this is now a type of confirmation, a type of, I guess, showing its hand, right? And it could be the first time you get a decent pullback, right? Because if you notice, right, ever since we legitimately broke our final leg to the upside, right? High, low, no retracement, right? High, low, no medium retracement, but that would have been an order flow continuation here, right? And then high, low, no pullback. So I can see this now as a high, low, and we can actually get a type of premium before you go lower, right? And it makes a lot of sense because, for one, we've already taken out a major structural high, right? And if you haven't noticed, right, EU or DXY, right, does not give you those deep pullbacks, right? Well, it hasn't over the past couple weeks, months, right? Whenever we tend to fall, whenever we tend to move, right, it's very steep, it's very steep, it's very steep, right? So there's a very, very good chance we could see something similar to that, right, in terms of impulse, right, in terms of impulse, right, very well can see a similar move, right? And where does this sort of align? Almost to liquidity here, which is a very significant low, right? And based on how we pretty much are almost showing that unwillingness to continue higher from essentially the low, the pullback, and then the next pullback, right? Because we're showing the unwillingness for this to give enough effort to take out a previous high, which it hasn't, right? Because we reacted from the wick, right? So because we reacted from the wick and we cleared momentum, we cleared liquidity, we cleared structure here, right? This is now, because this has happened, this is now a solidified high based on high, low retracement, right? And keep in mind where this is occurring, right? If we're looking for order flow, right, I'm seeing one touch, mitigation, and then the move up. So theoretically, this is the final POI if you're looking at the downwards part of the candle. And in case you could see, it actually took the liquidity there, right? So that you're seeing a live example of a potential inefficient move, right? And by inefficient move, right, in case you didn't read the Euro GBP post, right, an inefficient move, right, is when the move itself, right, this move here, does not support the data provided, meaning that we took liquidity, right? So this is not a mitigation, and this is unsupported. So it's very easy, well, not very easy, but it's very a very responsible, I guess, assumption to assume that there's liquidity there waiting to be taken out. So you have a very good chance of catching the continuation to the downside, right? And that is how I'm deriving the bias, right? So keep in mind, right, that moves like this are unsustainable because there's no volume carrying it, because it's not mitigating anything, right? So I promise you, if we were looking at DXY here with volume, it would probably be diminishing in terms of bullishness, right? So back to, right, our move at hand today, right? This is actually, if you're able to understand order flow, this is a very good exercise for you, and this is also a very good exercise for you, right? You need to read, well, beginners, right? The first way to look at it, right, from the original course, right? Market structure never broke, right? Market structure never broke, so you can only assume continuation, right? Easiest way to look at it. In terms of order flow, right, what do we see? Right, I'm seeing high, low, right, structural range intact, pullback, new structural range, the conversion, right? But just because we have the conversion, this is a very it's a good buy per se, but keep in mind our leg is still bearish, our momentum is still bearish, right? So naturally, unwillingness creates a new structural range, discount creates a new structural range, right? We come in, we mitigate, right? Then leave unwillingness and take this out, right? This is now, as soon as we break this point, this is disruption, right? We then continue lower, continue lower, continue lower, right? We now have, right, you could even consider this entire leg, I mean the entire move to be a leg here, right? High, low retracement, low retracement, low retracement, low, right? Liquidity grab, because we eventually came to take structure out, right? So this is now, because this has happened, right? Don't see this as a bullish break of structure. See this as a high, low that are now solidified, right? Because this is going to be our short-term low, right? Because we can only assume continuation, but it'll be a long-term low if we take the leg out, right? So from looking at a discount premium, right, there's two POIs. Wick. Do you guys see why I'm pointing these out? Right, wick. Right, not the prettiest price action. Right, as you can see during Asia session, took the liquidity out of the POI and then instantly melted. Okay, so London momentum, right? We pretty much gave a low here, another retracement, and a new low. So I'm looking at my point of invalidation being up here, right? If we break this point, then we can assume maybe a return into this turbulence point here, right? But keep in mind this itself is a turbulence point. So I'm really curious to see, right, if we're gonna get something, any decent pullback, right? Honestly, I don't expect too deep of a retracement. I first want to see what happens when we retest structure. All right, but either way, there is still a Juan efficiency here, right? Juan typical setup here. Remember, there's a 50%, or there's a fulfillment, right? But I'm more so wanting to wait for obviously tomorrow morning and see if we can continue lower, right? But you can see the bias is there, right? We've called our bias since pretty much this area, right? We have the bias, we have the target. Well, target one, we have it there. I'm sorry, not there. Here, have our target, right? But this is also a very key area, in my opinion, because we can easily do something like that. So best case, in my opinion, if we mitigate here, right, I wouldn't consider that to be a full-on trend reversal, but I know it would trigger a good pullback for a good entry to the downside, right? But for all we know, right, this can just start melting, right? Because we have been stalling for a pretty long time. We've been stalling from the beginning of January to the ending of March, which is an entire quarter, right? And notice what we talked about. I don't know if you guys remember when we talked about this, right? When we talked about how quarters, right? This entire quarter was bearish, this entire quarter was bearish, right? This entire quarter was bullish for the most part, right? So it really seems like this is having some type of tendency of moving in one direction for the entire quarter. And if that theory is actually true, then, right, you can naturally assume, right, it's ended in January, around here, right? See, notice how at the beginning of October, right, is pretty much when we started the final leg, right? So we can even see, right, something even like that, right, which disregards this leg, but that clears target, and you see how that fits. Right, so I'm very, very curious with this. Right, I'm pretty sure we will get a pullback. I just wonder when. Right, so this is really, honestly, it's really liking. I'm really liking how this is starting to set up. Now I'm just wanting to see what happens up here. Right, I don't like to point out POIs right off the bat. I more so want to wait for the timing. Next EU. Same thing here, right? We finally cleared, right, the final leg there. Right, liquidity sitting here, right? And the one thing I was worried about, right, as I was waking up this morning, is like I was wondering if we were going to take this out or not. Why? Because we just cleared liquidity. Right? Keep in mind our entire leg is still bearish, right? Even though we've already seen this start to show bullishness, right? There could be a potential straight up reversal, right? Just because the entire leg is bearish, but it doesn't really make sense because since we took this liquidity out, right? That just means that this is solidified low from a high and low, so it doesn't really make sense to sell. But I was always open to both sides. So essentially, because we broke through that, I see that as a type of disruption of bearish order flow. So if we actually do get a pullback, right, then it gives me all more of the reason to want to, you know, take this to the moon, right? Because this is really looking like it's transitioning over, right? Like we said, no real retracement on, you know, on our major intraday time frames, right? Turbulence point, right? No deep retracement, right? Except for, you know, obviously when you start making a structural range inside of this, and then discount, right? But this was iffy, right? I think we covered this on Saturday. Right, this is iffy because we actually converted structure. Right, we had the final leg to the upside there be taken out, and it could have been seen as a liquidity grab. Right, so this, right, I won't blame you for that sell. I won't blame you for that sell. Even though it's reversal chasing, I won't blame you for it. But as you can see, it's super choppy. Right, came, took liquidity. This is very choppy. Right, then gave a move to the upside. Took liquidity, right, and then it gave another push down until we came all the way back up. So it's very messy per se. Right, now as for where this potentially mitigated from, well, it didn't really mitigate from anything. Was this an Asia move? Yes, it was Asia move. Yeah, this is not something I would have liked to play into, especially at this time of day, right? But realistically, right, you shouldn't want to do BOS, maybe inefficiency fill to the moon. That's high risk, right? Whereas you see the corrective movement come into play. That's taken out. This is a change of character, right? Turbulence point, entry, moon. Right, so this is super interesting, especially because of when it's moving, right? Obviously during London we have a very large spike, but this does leave inefficient pricing left behind. So that could honestly be filled before we actually come lower. Also, when we're looking at our order flow, right? Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, break of structure, right? High, low, retracement, order flow, right? High, low, retracement, order flow, but it's not creating substantial new lows, right? Low, low, low. So preferably, right, I'd love to see London and then New York take out this liquidity maybe from Asia session and then give you any type of bullish scenario. But I'm being patient here. I'm being super patient here. Right, I don't want to get too caught up. I do want to make sure I catch a move to the upside because these are easily 100, 200 pip moves once we get a good retracement. So yeah, do you guys have any questions? How'd you guys like the GU breakdown? I'm pretty sure by now everybody should have been able to watch it. Haven't had a chance yet? Cool, cool. It's a longer one. I didn't expect it to be so long. But yeah, I mean, no rush. Nice, thank you. Nice. So does anybody have any questions? Do you guys want me to cover anything? You said it's linked in announcements? No, I said in announcements. So like if you mute the Discord, right? Mute everything but the announcements. I think the announcements, like for example, when we make a post or when we add a video or when we add a Zoom, it's always gonna be there. Right? So if you're gonna like mute the Discord, like me for example, I mute the community chat just because I don't want my phone spamming at 4 in the morning. Right? So I have everything else open except for that. But yeah, anyways, it's in phase 7, and we always announce it before it's up. Yeah, anyways, you guys have any questions? Do you guys want me to cover anything? So we got 26 people on. Dope, dope, dope. Right, and because you guys aren't asking questions, right, that kind of brings us toward the announcement that I'm going to give you guys. Oh, Damien, you already watched it? Oh, okay, okay, dope, dope. Awesome. So in case you don't understand, he's not asking a question, he's making a statement, which also ties to the announcement that I'm trying to give you guys. But yeah, do you guys have any questions or do you want to just get to the announcement? Cool, cool. Before the announcement, all right, I have a question. Everybody in here, right? The majority, well, not a majority, but I say some of you, English isn't your first language, okay? So can you please list out the languages that, like your native language, if it isn't English? Could you guys name that for me real quick, please? Spanish, French, Portuguese, Hindi, Portuguese, French, Portuguese. Okay, perfect. So I was on a call with Falco the other day, and I like the idea in this, which is why I'm bringing it up. And it's like a lot of people, right, they kind of hesitate to ask questions because of that language barrier, right, per se. So what I was thinking, right, is maybe create right below the community chat to put, like, for example, a Spanish chat, below that to put a Portuguese chat, Italian chat, right? But I can only do it for languages where we have a lot of people that speak that language, right? Because I don't want to split the community up, right? But I also want you guys to be able to speak maybe in your native language. And you know, I think it's very beneficial, right? Because there will be a lot of you that speak the same language, and maybe you can clarify a lot of things that you may not understand because of that language barrier. You know what I'm saying? So we're for sure doing Portuguese, and we're for sure doing Spanish, right? So over the next week, right, I can maybe, actually, I don't know, I need to see, maybe you guys can just DM me the languages that you guys speak, right? Because there's a lot, and I don't want to make too many channels as well, so I only want to pick out, you know, the languages that are pretty much the most popular per se. So right now it's for sure Portuguese, it's for sure Spanish, and it's for sure Italian, right? Because I know that I can have people in there, and actually have people in there that can answer questions, right? So yeah, what do you guys think about that? Yeah, and also I will only add you, this can change, right? But I'm only gonna add you to the language that you add me to. Like, for example, if you're a native Portuguese speaker, I'm not gonna put you in the Italian Spanish chat, right? Because I don't want to split up the community. Yeah, also that too. Like, you need to stick to the material. And I mean, obviously I'm gonna have people in there. Like, for example, the Italian group, I have some of the admins in there. The Portuguese, which is probably the biggest group, I think, well, for sure, you know, you have Falco Tomas in there, you have a couple other guys in there. And then the Spanish, I mean, obviously I speak Spanish, but we'll just see. So over the next week, right, I'm gonna need a list, like, of the languages that you would like, right? And please, only one per person, please. And I'm sorry if I can't add your language, but this is completely reliant on how many people speak a certain language, you know? But yeah, I'm pretty much just doing this because I know I kind of don't, I underestimate how, you know, hard that language barrier is at times. And, you know, maybe a lot of you don't even understand half the stuff I say half the time, you know? But yeah, I mean, other than that, I still need to set up all the one-on-one stuff. I should have that done by the end of the week. But yeah, cool. Do you guys have any questions, concerns with that? With the announcements? Yeah, I think it's a really good idea too. Like, for example, you, Damien, I know your English isn't the best, right? But I think it'll be very helpful for the people that don't have the best English. Right, but yeah, anyways, please, over, if you have a suggestion for a language, then yeah, please go ahead and message me, and I'll note it down. But I mean, other than that, unless you guys have questions, we can end it off here. Pretty short call today, not too much going on. Of course. Also, if you guys have any suggestions with these Zooms, I'm open to it all. You know, like, for example, the difference between Saturday and Tuesday's call is literally 2 days of price action. So it could literally be the exact same bias information move in between Tuesday and Saturday. You know, so if there's anything that I can do to spice it up or whatever, you know, just let me know. Or if I could go about analyzing a certain different way. Right, I could do more pairs, but at the same time, I'm only looking at EU, so it will be a bit hard to give my honest opinion. More interactive in terms of what? Like, for example, like make it like an actual class, like freaking like high and low. So what would we naturally expect here? I can't do earlier than 7 p.m. bro. Like, for example, even today, like you see, like I got caught up at the store for 30-40 minutes and that ruined my entire schedule. And also keep in mind, I also have responsibilities. I like going to the gym in the day. We could, maybe. We'll think about it. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm down. The only issue with the live trading is my focus span is incredibly off. So if I have a bunch of you trying to talk to me at the same time while I'm trying to trade at the same time, it's not going to work out at all. And you could say, yeah, we'll just sit here and be quiet, but then what's the point? I don't see much of a point. If anything, instead of me doing that, I could just record a session one day. Because at the same time, I'm not going to give you signals, right? Like, I'd rather sit here and record myself than do that. Yeah, much less stressful, annoying. Yeah, other than that, do you guys have any more questions? Yeah, bro, I mean, I pretty much do that already. The thing is I can't post previous markups anymore, you know? After that leak, after people were, you know, showing those around, I can't. So I gotta find a solution for it. Because I could. So the solution I found, right, was I can't like put the markups all on here in tabs and just show you, because when you pause, it's gonna, obviously it's the video's not gonna work. So the only solution that I thought of was doing the markups and then explaining them briefly, but it would be like a 5-minute video. And I can't post my trades on a daily basis if I don't trade on a daily basis. So just FYI. Oh, you mean just pair breakdowns in general? Okay, but yeah, it's just I could do more pairs. It's just, for example, I need to know the behaviors. I need to look at it way before, so I'd need to know ahead of time. Cool. So are we good? Have a great night, guys. Have a good night.